Hello students. Welcome to Career Nest Kerala. Today we are starting Class 12 Botany, Chapter 1, Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. Reproduction is the biological process through which living organisms produce young ones similar to themselves. This process helps every species continue life generation after generation. In flowering plants, reproduction mainly takes place through flowers. The flower is the reproductive part of the plant. The first step is pollination. During pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma. This transfer may happen through agents like insects, wind, water, or birds. After pollination comes fertilization. Here, the male gamete fuses with the female gamete inside the ovule to form a zygote. Following fertilization, the ovule develops into a seed, and the ovary develops into a fruit. This stage is called seed formation. When the seed gets favorable conditions like water, air, and warmth, it germinates and grows into a new plant. So the complete process includes flower, pollination, fertilization, seed formation, and finally, a new plant. This amazing cycle ensures the continuity of plant life on Earth. Sexual reproduction involves the generation of gametes via meiosis, fusion of gametes, fertilization, formation of embryo and seeds, and development of sporophyte. Asexual reproduction gives rise to sporophyte without formation and fusion of gametes. It is generally by vegetative propagation, natural, rhizome, sucker, tubers etc. or artificial, cutting, grafting, layering, tissue culture etc. and apomixis. Stages of sexual reproduction in angiosperms. 1. Prefertilization, pollen grain formation, embryo sac formation, gametogenesis, pollination, pollen-pistil interaction. 2.
Double fertilisation, syngamy, plus triple fusion tri. Post-fertilisation.
Development of zygote, embryo development of PN, endosperm maturation of ovule, seed maturation of ovary, fruit pollen grain pollen tube ovule ovary. 1. Prefertilization. Structures and events. Flowers are the sites of sexual reproduction. In a flower, Androecium represents the male reproductive part and Gynoecium represents the female reproductive part. Male reproductive part, Androecium consists of a whorl of stamens. A stamen has two parts. A. Filament, the long and slender stalk. Its proximal end is attached to the thalamus or the petal. B. Anther, the terminal bilobed structure. Each lobe has two thecae, that is, dithecus. The anthers consist of 4 microsporangia located at the corners, 2 in each lobe. Stamen, Androecium anther filament. Attachment to thalamus or petal anther, dithecus connective theca Microsporangia meiosis microspores, pollen grains. Structure of Microsporangium, pollen sac wall layers, outer to inner epidermis, protection endothecium, helps in dehiscence, burst open of anther to release pollen middle layers, provide mechanical support and protection. Tapetum, nourishes the developing pollen grains. The centers of each microsporangium contain sporogenous tissue. Microsporogenesis, the formation of microspores from a pollen mother cell, PMC, or microspore mother cell through meiosis is called microsporogenesis. Undifferentiated cells in the sporogenous tissue. Differentiated from sporogenous cells. 4 haploid microspores formed and arranged as a cluster. Microspores separate from tetrad. Each microspore forms a pollen grain, male gametophyte. Pollen grain has a vegetative cell and a generative cell. Generative cell divides to form 2 male gametes. Pollen grain, male gametophyte. Pollen grain is spherical in structure and has a 2-layered wall. Layers of pollen wall. Outer exene. Made up of sporopollenin, most resistant organic polymer. Exene has openings called germ pores where sporopollenin is absent. Germ pore exene. Intine, inner intine. It is a thin layer made up of cellulose and pectin. Exene, sporopollenin. Intine, cellulose plus pectin. Pollen grains may have 2 cells, 60%, or 3 cells, 40% at the time of shedding. 2-celled pollen grain, 60% vegetative cell, tube cell generative cell. 3-celled pollen grain, 40% vegetative cell, tube cell. 2 male gametes at the time of pollination, The two-celled pollen grain undergoes second mitosis and the generative cell divides to form two male gametes. Cells in mature pollen two-celled 1. Vegetative cell large. Contains reserved food. Function, nourishment and tube formation. 2. Generative cell small. Floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. Function, gives rise to two male gamete. 2. Generative cell small. Floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. Function, gives rise to two male gametes.